in the grand play of life, each of us holds the power to shape our reality. Yet, there are those who seek to manipulate and dominate, feeding off the energy of others, the narcissists. These individuals thrive on control, validation, and emotional reactions, weaving illusions to maintain their fragile sense of superiority. But here is the truth. You are the creator of your experience, the operant power in your world. By understanding the key principles of self-mastery and mental discipline, you can render a narcissist powerless in your life. This is not about vengeance or malice, but reclaiming your freedom and peace. Today, we shall uncover 6 transformative ways to do so. 6 things they detest, which, when embodied, will dissolve their hold over you. Confidence is the cornerstone of personal power. It is the silent yet resounding declaration of who you are, and it speaks louder than any word you could ever say. In the presence of a narcissist, confidence acts as your unshakable shield, rendering their attempts at manipulation futile. A narcissist thrives on creating doubt, destabilizing your sense of self, and sowing seeds of insecurity. They feed on your need for external validation because it reinforces their sense of control. But when you embody confidence, you deprive them of the very sustenance they crave. It is not merely about appearing self-assured, but truly living from the knowing that you are whole, complete, and untouchable. To achieve this, one must first recognize that confidence is not derived from external circumstances. It is a state of being, a choice made in the present moment. The world you experience is a reflection of your inner state. And when you stand in the awareness of your worth, the outer world must conform to that truth. A narcissist, perceiving this inner strength, finds no foothold to exert their influence. They cannot shake someone who knows their value, for that value is not up for debate. Their usual tactics of belittlement or gaslighting fall flat when met with unwavering certainty. Confidence is not loud or boastful. It is calm and resolute. It does not seek to prove itself because it is already convinced of its inherent worth. This quiet assurance disarms the narcissist, leaving them without a target. They rely on your need for their approval to manipulate you, but when you no longer seek their validation, their power begins to crumble. They may attempt to provoke you, to draw you back into their web of control, but your confidence creates a boundary they cannot penetrate. It is an invisible wall that says, I am enough, and nothing you say or do can change that. Building this confidence begins with the practice of self-awareness. Observe your thoughts and identify where you might be giving away your power. Are there areas in your life where you seek validation from others, particularly from the narcissist? Do you find yourself questioning your decisions or doubting your abilities because of their influence? Once you identify these patterns, you can begin to shift them. Replace doubt with certainty, fear with trust, and insecurity with self-love. This is not an overnight transformation, but a journey of returning to your true self. Visualization is a powerful tool in this process. See yourself as the confident, unshakable individual you aspire to be. Feel the emotions associated with that state: peace, joy, and strength. As you hold this image in your mind, you begin to align with it in your reality. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between imagined and real experiences. It accepts what you consistently present to it. By impressing the idea of confidence upon your subconscious, you reprogram your mind to operate from this day. Another key aspect of confidence is setting and maintaining boundaries. A narcissist often oversteps boundaries to assert their control, but a confident individual enforces them without hesitation. Boundaries are not walls to shut others out, but lines that define what you will and will not accept. They communicate respect for yourself and your well-being. When you enforce boundaries with a narcissist, you send a clear message. Their behavior will not dictate your sense of self. This act alone can be incredibly unsettling for them, as it denies them the ability to manipulate you. Confidence also requires trust in the unseen. You must trust that your worth is not contingent upon anyone's opinion or approval. It is an intrinsic part of who you are, woven into the fabric of your being. When you anchor yourself in this truth, no external force can shake you. The narcissist may attempt to project their insecurities onto you, but your confidence acts as a mirror, reflecting those projections back to them. They are left facing their own void, unable to draw you into it. Ultimately, confidence is your greatest defense and your most powerful offense. It allows you to rise above the tactics of manipulation and control, standing firm in the knowing of your worth. A narcissist, faced with true confidence, is rendered powerless because their entire strategy relies on your willingness to question yourself. When that willingness is replaced with certainty, their influence dissolves. Confidence is not just a shield, it is the embodiment of your freedom. And in that freedom, you reclaim not only your power, but also your peace. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you can wield when dealing with a narcissist. It is not the silence of submission or fear, but the silence of mastery and inner strength. Narcissists thrive on emotional reactions because those reactions feed their need for control and attention. They provoke, manipulate, and distort situations to elicit a response, which they use as fuel to reinforce their perceived power. However, when you choose silence, you disrupt this cycle and reclaim your control. To understand the power of silence, you must first realize that it is not merely the absence of words, but the deliberate withholding of energy and attention. Every time you engage with the narcissist's provocations, whether through anger, defense, or explanation, you feed their need for validation. They interpret your response as evidence of their ability to influence you, which bolsters their sense of superiority. Every time you engage with them, they amplify their senses. You will feed their need for validation, but when you remain silent, you deny them the satisfaction of that control. You become an enigma, a presence they cannot easily manipulate or decipher. Silence creates a space that forces the narcissist to confront their own void. They rely on others to fill the emptiness within them, using manipulation and conflict as tools to avoid facing their inner deficiencies. When you withhold your energy, they are left with no one to project their insecurities onto, and this can be deeply unsettling for them. Your silence acts as a mirror, reflecting back the truth they desperately try to avoid, that their power is an illusion, dependent on the reactions of others. You will discover that all of nature is and has always been. Practicing silence does not mean tolerating abuse or neglecting to set boundaries. It means choosing when and how to respond in a way that serves your peace and preserves your energy. For example, if a narcissist attempts to bait you into an argument, you can choose to remain calm and non-reactive, refusing to engage with their attempts to provoke you. This silence is not a passive act, but an intentional assertion of your power. It says, I will not play your game, and I will not allow you to dictate my emotional state. Silence also disrupts the narcissist's sense of control. They are accustomed to eliciting predictable responses from others, which they use to manipulate and dominate. When you refuse to engage, they lose their ability to predict your behavior, and this unpredictability can be deeply unsettling for them. They may escalate their attempts to provoke you, but your continued silence reinforces the boundaries you have set. But your continued silence reinforces the boundaries you have set. Over time, they will begin to realize that their tactics no longer have the desired effect, and the influence over you will diminish. One of the challenges of practicing silence is overcoming the instinct to defend yourself. Narcissists are skilled at twisting words and situations to paint themselves as the victim or the hero. When they accuse you of wrongdoing or misrepresent your intentions, the natural response is to correct them or defend your position. However, engaging in this way only draws you deeper into their web of manipulation. Instead, silence allows you to rise above their attempts to control the narrative. You do not need to justify yourself to someone who is determined to misunderstand you. Your truth is not dependent on their perception. Silence also creates an opportunity for you to focus on your inner world. When you withdraw from the narcissist games, you free up energy that can be redirected towards self-reflection, healing, and growth. Use this silence to reconnect with your own values, desires, and goals. Reaffirm your worth and your power, independent of the narcissist's influence. This inner work strengthens your ability to maintain silence in the face of provocation, as you become more grounded in your sense of self. It is important to recognize that silence is not about winning or outsmarting the narcissist. It is about protecting your peace and reclaiming your power. It is a practice of self-respect and self-preservation, a declaration that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on meaningless conflict. The narcissist may interpret your silence as indifference, weakness, or even defeat. But their interpretation is irrelevant. What matters is that you have chosen to prioritize your well-being over their need for validation. Over time, the power of your silence will become evident. The narcissist will begin to realize that their attempts to provoke you are futile, and their hold over you will weaken. They may move on to seek attention elsewhere, or they may attempt to adapt their tactics to regain control. In either case, your continued silence will act as a reminder that you are no longer a willing participant in their games. Through silence, you reclaim your autonomy and assert your freedom, proving that their power was never as strong as they believed it to be. Elevating your self-concept is one of the most transformative acts you can undertake when dealing with a narcissist. Your self-concept is the foundation upon which your entire experience of life is built. It determines how you see yourself, how you believe others see you, and what you feel you deserve. Narcissists exploit gaps in your self-concept, targeting insecurities and vulnerabilities to maintain their dominance. By elevating your self-concept, you reclaim your power and render their influence meaningless. The first step in elevating your self-concept is understanding that your reality is a reflection of your inner beliefs. Whatever you hold to be true about yourself is mirrored in the people and circumstances around you. If you see yourself as unworthy, you will attract relationships and situations that confirm that belief. Narcissists thrive in this environment because they sense your doubts and use them to manipulate you. And finally, diversity is a great teacher. However, when you shift your inner perception, the external world must change to match your new belief system. By seeing yourself as powerful, valuable, and beyond manipulation, you create a reality where the narcissist tactics have no effect. To elevate your self-concept, begin by identifying the beliefs you hold about yourself that may be rooted in fear, doubt, or inadequacy. These beliefs often stem from past experiences, relationships, or societal conditioning. For instance, if you believe that you are not good enough, you may find yourself constantly seeking approval, leaving you vulnerable to the narcissist's control. Once you identify these limiting beliefs, challenge them. Ask yourself, are these beliefs true? Do they serve me? What evidence do I have that contradicts them? By questioning their validity, you weaken their hold over your mind. So next, replace these limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Create affirmations that reflect the person you wish to become and repeat them daily. For example, you might affirm, I am strong, confident, and worthy of respect. I am free from the influence of others' opinions, and I create my own reality. The repetition of these affirmations impresses your subconscious mind with a new, elevated self-picture. Over time, this new self-concept becomes your dominant state of being, and it will begin to manifest in your outer world. Visualization is another powerful tool for elevating your self-concept. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as the person you desire to be. Someone who is confident, self-assured, and immune to the narcissistic tactics. See yourself thriving, surrounded by supportive relationships and free from manipulation. Feel the emotions associated with this reality: joy, peace, and empowerment. The more vividly you imagine this version of yourself, the more you align with it in your daily life. Visualization bridges the gap between who you are now and who you are becoming, making the transition seamless. As your self-concept rises, you will notice a shift in your interactions with the narcissist. They may try to test your new boundaries, attempting to pull you back into old patterns. However, your elevated self-concept will make it clear that you are no longer the same person they once manipulated. Their words and actions will lose their sting because you now see yourself as someone who is above their games. You will recognize their behavior for what it is, a reflection of their own insecurities, not a commentary on your worth. An elevated self-concept also changes the way others perceive and treat you. People respond to the energy you project, and when you carry yourself with confidence and self-respect, they mirror that back to you. The narcissist, accustomed to feeding off your insecurities, will find themselves disarmed. They may try to adapt their strategies, but their efforts will fall flat because your new self-concept no longer allows room for their influence. You are now operating from a place of strength and clarity, making it impossible for them to regain control. It is important to remember that elevating your self-concept is not about proving your worth to anyone else. It is about realizing that your worth has always been inherent and unchanging. The narcissist's attempts to undermine your self-esteem were never a reflection of your true value, but of their own need to feel superior. By stepping into the truth of who you are, you free yourself from their grasp and create a life that aligns with your highest potential. This process requires consistency and patience. Changing deeply ingrained beliefs takes time, but every small step you take toward elevating your self-concept brings you closer to the freedom and empowerment you seek. Celebrate your progress no matter how small, and remind yourself that you are on a journey of transformation. As you continue to embody your elevated self-concept, you will find that the narcissist's presence in your life diminishes, both in power and significance. You will no longer see them as a threat, but as a fleeting shadow that cannot dim the light of your newfound self-awareness. Indifference is one of the most effective tools you can use when dealing with a narcissist, and it is something they absolutely despise. A narcissist thrives on attention, whether it is positive or negative. They seek to provoke reactions, stir emotions, and center themselves in the lives of others. To them, any reaction is validation, a sign that they have power over you. But when you practice genuine indifference, you deny them the validation they crave, leaving them disarmed and frustrated. So, indifference is not the same as pretending not to care while seething inside. True indifference is a state of emotional neutrality where their actions and words no longer hold any weight in your inner world. It is the ultimate form of detachment, where you neither love nor hate, admire nor despise. You simply refuse to assign them significance. This is not about suppressing your emotions, but about cultivating a mindset where their presence or absence becomes irrelevant to your well-being. It is not simply the act of memorizing that is completely irrelevant to your well-being. Achieving indifference starts with understanding the narcissist's motives. They are deeply insecure individuals who construct a false image of superiority to mask their vulnerabilities. To sustain this illusion, they need constant attention and validation from others. When you react to their provocations, whether through anger, frustration, or even attempts to explain yourself, you feed their need for significance. They interpret your reaction as evidence of their power, which reinforces their behavior. By contrast, indifference starves them of this validation, forcing them to confront the void within themselves. To cultivate indifference, it is essential to stop personalizing their behavior. A narcissist's actions are not about you. They are a reflection of their own unresolved issues. When they criticize, belittle, or manipulate, they are projecting their insecurities outward. Recognizing this truth allows you to detach emotionally from their behavior. Their words and actions lose their sting because you understand that they are not rooted in reality, but in their distorted perception of the world. Practicing indifference requires self-discipline and emotional regulation. Narcissists are skilled at pushing buttons, exploiting your vulnerabilities, and drawing you into their games. They may say things designed to hurt you or create situations that demand a response. In these moments, remind yourself that their behavior is a tactic, not a truth. Pause, breathe, and choose not to react. This act of non-engagement is not about letting them win, but about reclaiming your power. Your silence and lack of reaction speak volumes. sending a clear message that you are no longer a willing participant in their drama. One of the most challenging aspects of indifference is breaking free from the need to correct or defend yourself. Narcissists often distort reality, twist your words, and make false accusations to provoke a reaction. It is natural to want to set the record straight, but engaging in this way only fuels their agenda. Instead, allow their words to pass by without acknowledgement. You do not owe them an explanation, and their opinion does not define your truth. By refusing to engage, you rob them of the satisfaction they seek. Indifference also involves redirecting your focus inward. Instead of expending energy on the narcissist, invest in your own growth and well-being. Engage in activities that bring you joy. Nurture your passions, and surround yourself with supportive and uplifting people. The more you build a life that fulfills and empowers you, the less significant the narcissist becomes. They fade into the background, overshadowed by the light of your own happiness and self-assurance. Over time, your indifference will have a profound impact on the narcissist. They may initially escalate their attempts to provoke you, desperate to regain control. But as you remain consistent in your detachment, they will begin to realize that their efforts are futile. A narcissist cannot thrive in an environment where they are ignored, where their presence fails to elicit the attention they crave. Where their presence fails to elicit the attention they crave, they may eventually retreat, seeking validation elsewhere, because your indifference denies them the sustenance they need to maintain their false sense of power. It is important to note that indifference is not about cruelty or revenge. It is about protecting your peace and preserving your energy. By refusing to engage with their tactics, you free yourself from their grip and create space for healing and growth. Indifference is not an act of hostility, but an act of self-love, a declaration that your happiness is no longer tied to their behavior. Ultimately, indifference liberates you. It allows you to reclaim your emotional autonomy and live a life that is no longer dictated by the whims of a narcissist. Their games lose their appeal, their words lose their power, and their presence fades into insignificance. In this state of freedom, you rediscover your true self, whole, unshaken, and untouchable. Rewriting the role of a narcissist in your mind is one of the most liberating and transformative actions you can take. This begins with a profound realization. The narcissist's influence over you exists because you have assigned them a role in your life that gives them power. Consciously or unconsciously, you may have seen them as an authority, a figure of significance, or someone whose approval or disapproval defines your worth. And by rewriting their role, you reclaim control over your narrative, shifting from being a supporting character in their drama to the lead in your own story. The first step in this process is understanding that you are the operant power in your experience. Your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions shape the reality you live in. If you see the narcissist as powerful, controlling, or central to your life, you reinforce their position in your world. However, the moment you decide to view them as irrelevant, powerless, or even a minor character, their influence begins to fade. This is not about denial, but about consciously choosing the story you want to live and the roles you assign to those around you. Start by examining the beliefs you hold about the narcissist. Do you see them as someone who has control over you? Do you believe their opinion defines your value? Are you allowing their actions to dictate your emotional state? Once you identify these beliefs, challenge them. Ask yourself, is it true that this person has power over me? What evidence do I have that contradicts this belief? By questioning these assumptions, you begin to dismantle the mental framework that has kept a narcissist in a position of influence. Next, decide how you want to perceive the narcissist moving forward. Visualize them in a diminished role, someone whose actions and words no longer affect you. Imagine them as a fleeting figure, incapable of disrupting your peace or dictating your worth. By doing this, you strip them of the significance they once held in your mind. This mental shift does not require their cooperation or acknowledgement. It is entirely within your control and independent of their behavior. Rewriting their role also involves redefining how you see yourself. If you have been operating from a place of fear, insecurity, or a need for their approval, it is time to elevate your self-concept. See yourself as strong, self-assured, and untouchable. Imagine yourself as someone who is completely free from their influence, whose happiness and self-worth are no longer tied to their actions. This new self Piyama becomes the foundation of your reality, and the narcissist presence becomes increasingly irrelevant. One of the most powerful tools for rewriting their role is the practice of revision. At the end of each day, reflect on any interactions you had with the narcissist that left you feeling unsettled or diminished. In your mind, replay the interaction, but this time, imagine it unfolding in a way that empowers you. See yourself responding with confidence and calm, unshaken by their words or actions. Visualize the narcissist as powerless, their attempts to provoke you falling flat. This mental exercise reprograms your subconscious mind, aligning it with your desired reality. If you rewrite their role, you may notice a shift in how they interact with you. The narcissist may initially resist this change, attempting to reassert their dominance. They may try to provoke you or escalate their tactics, but your new perception of them renders these attempts ineffective. Over time, they will sense that their role in your life has changed, and their behavior may begin to shift as well. This is not because they have truly changed, but because your perception no longer supports the dynamic that once existed.